Hello, and welcome to episode 33 of Cooking with Unity. I'm your host, Maximilian Moreau. With me is my tech, Philip Wilson.
Yep, still here.
All right. And today we're going to try and wrap up the whole RTS thing. I want to get this one out the door so that we can start working on other projects. So, when we last left our heroes, we had this interesting little bug where I thought I was going crazy because this guy would not move. This little red guy would not move, and would go to scene view, and he wouldn't move. And then I'd like adjust some values, and then he might start moving. Like if I adjust this enough, kind of starts twitching. And I go in the game view. We got some weird stuff, and then I was looking at it today, and it's actually really stupidly simple what happened here. So what's actually happening is we have two scripts that are competing to move the unit. We've got this basic unit movement, which is what these guys use to move around, that is actually messing with this guy's new AI that we gave him, which is move towards the nearest player unit. So if we turn off the basic unit movement, he works normally and gets himself killed exactly the way that we would expect. So all we need to do, I actually have to do that again because I did that in play mode, but we're going to remove basic unit movement. And so we now have a unit that attempts to kill itself against our green units. So let's see, what are we going to do to wrap this one up? We've talked about drag select. I'm doing it. That's going to be the main goal of this episode, is to do drag select. This game is not going to be as fleshed out as RTSs are. As you guys know on my show, is like we're not making a product that we can just put on the store. I want to show you the logic and theory behind the scripting portion of the games, and a little bit on the design portion, and show kind of different ways that you can solve different problems. So, and I want to move on to a different type of project. If you guys have any specific questions about RTSs, or if you wanted something that we didn't cover in the show about RTSs, ask me at pushypixels@pushypixels.com, and I will do a Unity how-to for that particular section. What we've got going on is we want to do a drag selection. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to create a cube. I guess I could have done an empty game object, but we're going to do a cube, and I'm going to just remove the cube, what makes it a cube.
You're taking it.
I'm taking out its worth as a cube.
Oh, that's sad.
And so now it is just a collider. Actually, maybe I do need some cube in there so that we can see what we're selecting.
Yeah, you might want to go with like a transparent cube.
Let's do that. Let's do that. So I'm going to undo and put our mesh renderer and mesh filter back on there. So we're back to cube.
Oh, good.
So let's make a... actually, before I do anything, we've been doing this flat thing for a while. I'm going to actually do a little bit of organization on our project here. So we're going to do script at the very least and get all of these different things that we've created. This is actually a pretty complex project that we've done here.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of surprised.
Well, RTS is kind of a complex game type.
So we go to scripts, there we go. So now at least we've got, okay, that's already dealable. I'm going to go ahead and put all the prefabs in our existing prefab folder. I'm going to create a texture folder in here. I've got a new little thing that I do. I like to do underscore textures, just so that it shows up at the top of the list. And so it's associated permanently with the materials themselves. And do we have anything else? Oh yeah, this red material should be in materials, green should be in materials, and these scripts should be in scripts.
There we are.
Alright, that didn't take too long.
Housekeeping.
Yeah. And it helps. It makes it a little bit easier to read, a little bit easier to do this stuff. So let's now let's start with a new material. So I'm going to go into the materials, we're going to create a new material. Because we're just going to make this semi-transparent so that we can select things easier. I'm also going to make it green because our units are green. So
yellow.
You think yellow?
Oh, just because it's a different color.
Right.
Something we haven't used yet.
Yellow, transparent yellow. And so we're going to set it to a yellow color.
Since we aren't really targeting mobile devices too, it's not a big deal using transparency.
Yeah, transparencies on mobile will get you into some trouble, especially anything that can be resized to the size of the screen, which in this case it could.
I had experience with that in my project.
The mobile devices will have fill rate problems with that kind of thing, and so that's an important thing to note. Even if it's just something really simple like doing a fade out on a screen, it can sometimes cause frame rate problems.
Cut that frame rate right in half. Basically.
So we're going to transparent diffuse, and that's not going to work.
Why not?
It doesn't have a Oh wait, it's totally going to work.
It has an auto layer.
I do it in there. So we'll just make it about a 50% transparency. So 128, 127, somewhere in there. And we're going to just apply this to our cube.
Oh my goodness.
So now we have this transparent cube, and you can see it's transparent, and that's all magical and stuff. So we've got our cube. We're going to be doing a drag select. It'll be interesting to note how this does if we do opposite corners. So I'm going to assume we're dragging from the upper left-hand corner.
I think it'll work okay.
I think it will too, but we'll see what actually happens. We're gonna do this. We're gonna play this as it lies. So, so the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a empty game object. We're gonna call this Selector. We're gonna throw our cube in there, and we're going to actually move the cube to be at the corner. So first of all, let's zero out the cube. Now we're going to move our selector so we can see our cube a little bit better. I'm going to focus on it. And we're going to move it so I'm going to flatten it out. I'll keep it 1 unit high. But we want to make it so that the position of the cube is offset so that it scales from the corner. So right now if we scale it, it scales from the center. And actually if we scale the selector, it does the same thing. It scales from the center. We're going to be changing it so that its position is offset. We want the center in a corner here. So we're going to do, and we don't care about the Y, we just care about the X and Z. So we're going to do negative 0.5 and negative 0.5. Actually, we're going to do 5, not 0.5. 0.5, and we do want negative 0.5 here. So now if we do a rescale on our selector, okay, we didn't do that exactly right. That's exactly opposite of what I wanted actually. So let's go this one and this one. So if we scale our selector now, yeah, that's how we want it. Now we don't actually want to scale all 3 vectors. We just want to scale the 2. But this shows that it. See how it scales out and scales. Sorry, scales right. Give me that other handle. So this actually will function as a selector type thing. So we're going to just basically drag out a selection thing. Oh, that's right. That's the reason I've been dreading this, is the dragging portion. This is actually the easy part of it.
Yes, this is the easy part.
All right, so let's just default this to 111 for right now. We're probably going to default it to actually 0 or close to 0 for the scale, just like we did with this one with our status bar. So, oh, I'm in the game view. That's what happened. So we have our object. I'm going to go ahead and create a prefab out of it, and we're going to delete it from the scene. And so let's start looking at what we need to do a drag select. So we've got right now what we're using for our scripts is where is it? Detect clicks and touches. So we have this script, and this is one that I actually wrote a while ago, and we didn't really go over in detail how it worked on the show, and I think we've modified it a little bit, at least for the non-iPhone portion. Yeah, we added a right-clicked option, which is really no equivalent on the iPhone platform, I guess, other than the second click, but we're not going to worry about that right now. So I'm just going to be working again on the mouse portion. And if you want to do this for a portable, you may have to do a little bit of work on it yourself. I can answer it if you have a specific question. Just send me an email. Let's see what we got here. So get mouse button down 0. We don't care about 1. 1 is our second click. 0 is our first click. So left click. So we have this section in here. Oh wait, no, we don't. Touch phase here. Input get button, mouse button down. All right, so we're going to need to reorganize this a little bit. Let me actually see, let's see something real quick. I am just curious if there's some helper functions we can use for the mouse input. So, Unity mouse drag. Oh, that's the first thing that comes up. Drag game object with mouse. Let's see what this says. Oh, there's an on mouse drag.
Oh, wow.
Okay, we're going to use this. We're going to cheat and use this one. The reason I say it's cheating is because I like to show people stuff that can be used for mobile just because it's useful from a sales standpoint. The mouse, but some of the mouse functions do work. Like mouse down does work to a certain extent.
I actually have an example on my game that came out recently about that. So you can detect for a touch phase of moved.
Yeah, yeah.
Which would actually
pretty
much be equivalent to that.
Exactly, and that's actually what I was going to look at here, and I was like, oh, we've got touch phase begin, that's great, and then I'm like, oh wait, no, we don't have an equivalent here in the mouse section. So we're going to just do on mouse drag. So we're going to actually attach this to probably our ground here. Let's actually see what this function does. On mouse drag.
Oh, the internet's so helpful.
Yes, it is. So it's called when the user has clicked a collider and is still holding down the mouse. It's called every frame while the mouse is down. Okay, so we're going to need to do an on clicked and on mouse down thing. Yeah, we'll attach this as a script to the plane. It'll be fine.
Yeah, that's where it seems like it belongs.
So we're going to create a new C# script called drag select. And we're going to be using this function on mouse drag. We're not going to be using this junk in the middle. I'm going to leave that in there for reference sake. And we're going to also grab this on mouse down, right? Probably. On mouse down Unity. Yep, it is. So on mouse down void, on mouse down.
Fantastic.
And we're going to also have to handle void on mouse up as well. We're going to have to do all 3 of the fun little things. So on mouse down, we're going to need to, I'm just going to write some notes for myself, instantiate our selector widget. I'm going to call it a widget. It's kind of what it is. And with proper position, resize our selector widget with new position, and then destroy select units and destroy our selector widget. So here we go. So on mouse down, so we're going to need some things here, aren't we? Some variables. Let's do public game object selector, and that's probably all we need. Yeah, let's start with that. So on mouse down, we're going to instantiate our selector at input.mousePosition.x. Oh, sorry, wait. We're going to need this little function here. Wait, what is screen point?
It's probably a actual pixel point of the screen is what I'm thinking. So you're probably going to have to do a screen to world position calculation.
Yeah.
Because I believe that's what it takes in. I remember having that problem myself. So unfortunately, I just closed my code again.
No worries. All right, so we're going to actually need the point on the plane that we just clicked on. So we have a perspective thing, so we can't just make a base assumption on here.
Correct.
Let's raycast for it.
I do love raycast.
All right. Raycast to determine position.
Z position.
And actually, it'll actually be the whole position in this case, because we're not making a 2D game. These guys were assuming basically a 2D game.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is we're going to need hit info. No. Yeah. We're going to need to do a hit info, I think. No, it should. Okay, so we've determined that this object is under here, so we don't care what it hits. We're just going to hit whatever we can hit. So we're going to make a physics.raycast, and we're going to just need a origin and a direction. No, we are going to need hit info because we need to find out where it is. So we're going to need to make a hit raycast hit info. So physics.raycast, we're going to do camera.main.transform.position, and then we want our direction, which would be, actually, let's look at the declaration touches. This does something similar to this. Oh, there we go. There's a screen point to ray. That makes it really easy. I'm using that.
Yeah.
So we're going to do this a little bit differently. So ray, I'm going to do, we're going to declare ray. Raycast, so it's just ray. Ray. And we're going to do, we're just going to do it from the main camera. So camera.main.screen point to ray, input.mouse position.
Wow.
And so now we can just do raycast one with a ray. So there's the ray. We want one with a ray and a hit info ray. Okay, so the simplest one with a ray and an out hit info also has a distance and a layer mask. So we will do our ray, our out hit info, info. Just info. It's just above here. Why whatever. Our distance is going to be float dot. Oh, actually, I think there's a mathf dot infinity, isn't there? Yeah, let's use that one. And int layer mask, I'm just going to try null and see how that goes. So, so we'll do that, and then we can just find out where we actually hit now. So info will contain that. So I'm going to move this down to describe what we're going to do now, because we have our position in our ray hit cast hit info, which I'll show you how to get at in just a second here. So I don't know why I'm putting all this big space between things. So instantiate selector at info.point with selector dot rotation dot transform dot rotation. So this should create our selector widget. Now, we're going to need to be manipulating this object. So we're going to want a reference to it. So we can get that from instantiate. So I'm going to actually do a private game object selector instance equals instantiate as game object. And so now we have a reference to it, and we have created it, and so that should do something. So let's go ahead and see if just this part works. I think this is a good example to just start with. So first of all, there's some invalid arguments, so it wants an int for here. So I'm just going to try 0.
Well, what is the layer of the ground right now?
I don't know. Default.
Okay.
So screen point does not exist. Oh yeah, let's comment out this junk. Actually, we just had it for reference anyway. I don't even know why I'm keeping it, but I'm keeping it.
Never hurts.
So we hit play, and we didn't attach it to our thing. So we're going to attach our fresh script, which is called.
What was that?
Did I already make a drag select script? Oh, that is it.
No,
okay.
that is.
That's totally it. For a second, because I didn't think I called it that. Okay, whatever.
Fantastic.
So I hit play, and I click, and oh yeah, we didn't actually assign our selector here, so we're going to throw that into, whoops, wrong thing. Click plane, go to the inspector, put our selector into our drag select object, we hit play, we click, and it totally didn't put it in the right position.
But it is instantiating.
It is totally instantiating it. It's instantiated at like 0, 0, 0.
So let's see why it's not putting it in the right place.
So probably because this isn't actually hitting anything.
Maybe default is 1?
I don't think either of those are going to work.
We should look up which layer it was.
Oh, that worked. One works.
So layer was 1.
That's actually not, but the layer mask is not a layer. That's really important. Different thing.
Really?
Yeah. Layer mask is actually a bit mask. So it's actually, it can be a bunch of different layers or just one layer. And you can do it by bit shifting. Actually, I'm pretty sure doing one will get us the default layer, and I think that's the reason that's working.
Yes.
I probably should change that to something. We'll look at that later. I don't want to burn time on that if we don't have to.
Yeah.
So we actually have it. So it's actually getting to the right position at the very least.
If you click on the building, where does it
and you
go?
can see this it's instantiating with the corner in the right place. Now we'll if I click on the building,
yeah,
works
fine.
fine.
It still clicks on the building.
Yeah,
good.
Everything should still work.
Good.
Now we obviously don't want to just keep creating these little boxes that do nothing.
Or do we?
I don't know. It's kind
They
of
are
fascinating.
kind of exciting.
Yeah, they are pretty exciting. All right, so there we go. We have our initial code here. And so what this is actually doing, I'm just going to do a quick rundown. We're doing array cast. This means shooting array. Screen point array is a magic function that they have for the cameras that automatically shoots array with the proper aspect ratio and the proper direction as you would expect from the camera's position. And so you can just basically give it a two-dimensional position on the screen, which happens to be what mouse position reports as. Basically, this is pixel space. I think they have a viewport to array as well, probably. Here, let's actually check that before I say that. Main.viewport to array. Yeah, they do. They totally had that in there, and I totally messed that up. So viewport point array, instead of taking an XY coordinate in pixel space, it would be from 0 to 1. So 1.0 represents the far right of the screen, 0 represents far left. Same with top and bottom. Although I couldn't tell you which one is which, so I'm not going to say it. I would just try it twice. I'm pretty sure it's bottom to top. So so now we have our mouse drag. So we're going to be doing basically the same thing here, except for not instantiating it at this point. So we're going to be doing another one of these little ray casts. And from here, we're going to, what are we going to do? So let's, we're going to resize this thing. So we do actually want to change the default size on this. I'm going to do it right now. We're going to set it to 0, 1, and 0. And the reason I have the 1 is because we want to have a little bit of vertical tolerance for selecting the units. So here we are. We're going to adjust the Resizer selector widget. We're just going to put this right here. So I'm going to get rid of this code now officially. And what are we doing? We're resizing our selector widget with the new position. So we actually want the difference between our initial position. So we're going to actually have to store that. So let's do private vector3 initial position, I'm going to call it corner.
That works.
And so we're going to set that in here. In corner equals info.point. And I'm just going to go ahead and put corner in here. And so now we need to find the difference between our new position and the old position so that we can resize appropriately. All right, so that will be, I'm going to make a vector3 resize vector equals, we're going to do the new position minus the old position. So let's do info.point minus corner. And now that we have that resize vector, now this is in world space already because we're using the point that we've gotten from our raycast. This is no longer using the pixel space, so we don't have to worry about any further conversions here. So this actually represents, what this actually represents is if I was to go back into our scene, hit play, and click and drag, if we, why did it not create anything? It did. Where did it create them?
That is a good question.
Did I mess something up here already?
It's on mouse drag. Let's see what happens real quick.
I just want to see if this messed it up somehow. Info.point, because this is the only thing I changed in the click code. Where are these things showing up? Oh, I'm retarded. They've got a scale of 0, right? So let's try scale of 1. Okay, it's still working. We're good. We're good.
Okay, good.
I'm just stupid. All right, so managed to scare myself real good there. Let's just undo that real quick. All right, so so what we're going to be doing is basically I'm going to click, and that's going to do a position, and then we're going to drag. And so we're going to be getting the vector that represents the position here to the position I've dragged to. And then we're going to be taking the x and y values of that vector and applying them to... Will that work? Yeah, that'll be fine.
I believe it should work.
It'll work in this case.
Yeah.
It's technically making an assumption about vector distances being in an axis-aligned situation. And what that means in English is we're making an assumption that the ground is parallel to the XY plane, or sorry, XZ plane in this case. If you had bumpy terrain or something, that might not be the case, and it might cause problems. And there's actually a whole bunch of assumptions we're making, but yes. I just want to throw that out there. So we got this resized vector. So all we're going to do is we're going to take our, okay, so we can't just directly do it in C#, so I'm going to create a another vector, vector3 called new scale, and we're going to make that equal to selector instance dot scale.
Oh,
what was that?
No, that's my computer.
Okay.
Don't worry about it.
I'm not worried about it. Oh yeah, it's local scale. Wait, selector instance dot transform dot local scale. Scale. Local scale. There we go. So now we're going to adjust our new scale. Our new scale dot x is going to equal our resize vector dot x, and our new scale dot z is going to equal our, probably it's going to be negative. I'm going to just try it as negative because I think I'm going to be right on this one, but this is mostly in the hunch zone right now. Dot y. Wait, no. No, we want the z. No, and we don't want a negative. I'm overthinking things.
Yeah, we could just take the regular.
And so let's see if this now works. So if we hit play and click and drag, it totally didn't do anything. Oh, and that's because we didn't actually set our selector instance dot transform dot local scale equals new scale. Now we hit play, and we click, and we drag, and I did need to put a negative there.
Yep, there it is.
Amazing. All right.
Fantastic. You weren't overthinking it.
I was not overthinking it. Sad part is I couldn't tell you why. I just knew in my stomach that it was like that. So, okay, so I think we're getting some collision properties on this. We'll fix that in a second, but I think that's the reason it's getting a little janky. But it looks like it's working. It even works in the other direction.
That's pretty fantastic.
Oh, I'm very pleased with that. All right, so we've already got a drag select working, kind of. That's awesome. And now we can just actually. So if you want to make a drawing program, this is how you make squares.
Yep.
So there we go. We can make some squares in a drawing program or something.
Mario Paint.
Mario Paint, yeah.
That's a trick.
Good old, who was it? TODO. What's his actual name? Yeah, it's TODO. Yeah, it is. That's his actual name. So, composer for Mario Paint. Just some trivia. I don't know why anyone would care about that.
No, it's good trivia.
So, and actually, I don't know why this is below everything all of a sudden, because that's what we're doing here. So, all right, we've got the final thing is we need to destroy our selector widget. I'm just going to do that real quick because we can check to see if that works. So destroy selector instance. You don't want to destroy the selector. That will cause possibly some problems.
Yes.
Because it's a prefab and it will be kind of unhappy with you on that. So now if we do this, so we have a selection and it goes away. Perfect. And we can drag select in any direction. It's amazing.
Actually, you know why it might be holding up on that one? Because it's trying to...
It's intersecting with the plane right now because we didn't actually...
No, I mean, like, it's hitting the building. It can't get a ray point there. So that's why probably why it's looking a little janky.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, because it can't get that ray position. Oh, maybe I'm wrong.
No, because it's hitting the building there. So you watch, if I go up here on the top of the building, but if I move down, it... Yeah.
How strange.
I don't think we're going to be fixing that on this episode. I'm going to just put that out there.
Oh, we'll see if we have
time. But we'll
maybe.
See if we'll see.
Probably not going to be fixing that one.
All right, so we're going to destroy our selector instance, and I like to do destroys last, even though it actually doesn't matter. Like you can do a destroy at the beginning of a thing, and everything you do after that will still happen in that same frame. But you can even use things that are properties of the thing that you've destroyed after a destroy call if it's within the same frame. But we're not. I don't take that chance. So, so we need to select our units. So all we're going to do for that now. This is interesting because we may do the selection here, or we may do it on the unit side of things when it collides with the object. But I want to try and do it here. So let's actually look into this. So I want to see. We're going to actually search the internet for some more stuff.
Yeah, internet.
So I want to see. Test an object for collision unity. Because basically, Unity is typically just set up in an event-driven way for this type of stuff, so you'll get an on-collision message on the objects that are being collided with. Mm-hmm. What we want to do is we want to actually use the collider of that object and check it on this frame and get a list of all the objects in that collider. And that doesn't answer our question at all. Collision.contacts. Check if position is inside of a collider. This sounds pretty good. Use a sweep test on my rigid body. I use a distance and direction of my teleport. That's not appropriate for what we want either. They're just a little too specific. Alright, let's look at Unity Collider. I love Google time. Alright, so closest point on bounds, raycast. Collider. Okay, so these are inherited variables. We don't care about those. Enable detached rigid body is trigger material shared material bounds. World space bounding volume of the collider. All right, let's look what we got in physics.
Yeah, I mean,
Unity physics. Raycast, linecast, overlap, sphere, sphere cast, check sphere, check capsule, ignore collision, ignore layer collision, get, ignore layer collision. None of those fit what we want. All right, we're doing it on the objects. So
I'm sure you could do it on that one, though. Just have to look.
I'm sure that you can too. There's a lot of things that I'm sure you can do in Unity that I do not know how to do offhand. Destroy selector widget. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make it so that, what do we got? We've got flash if selected. We've got where is it? Select player unit on clicked. Alright, so we're going to create a new one. I'm going to actually duplicate this one. We're going to do Command D or Control D if you're on Windows. We're going to change it to select player unit on collision. Actually, I'm going to say trigger collision on trigger. I don't know. That's two different things, honestly. Alright. So, on trigger. So what we're going to do is instead of on clicked, we're going to do void on trigger enter, and we're going to just take interesting. So we want to do select additional unit. Oh, I see what we need to do. Alright, we're going to just use select additional unit for right now and see how this works. And we want to actually have a tag for it. So let's do public string, we'll make it an array, collider, or tags, valid tags. We'll just call it tags. You like tags?
You like tags?
All right. Unit manager, select additional units. So we want to check to see. So we're going to need to use the fancier form of. So I think trigger enter gives you the collider. So collider col. If actually for each string tag in tags, if col dot tag equals tag we do the select unit. And what else are we doing? We can return from here, actually. Return. because if we've already matched it, we don't care about the rest of the tags in here, and we'll get multiple on-trigger entries. Like if we manage to collide with two things at the same time, you'll actually get that both times for each object. So,
well, what about if you drag and then drag it away? Ooh. I could have just kept my mouth shut, I'm sorry. So I'm not really sorry.
Oh man, I hate you. We'll fix that one in a second. Let's look at that one. I'm thinking about it. It's in the back of my in the back of my head. We still need that. All right, so let's see if this compiled. Okay, it looks like it compiled. So let's attach this to our player prefab. Player unit. All right. And so we're going to need to give it a tag. So we're going to do one tag, and I'm going to call it Selector. And we're going to go to our little selector thingy, which should be in the prefab section, which I'm going to do that. Ah!
Do you like selector thingies?
So we go to our selector thingy, and we do tag, add tag. Wait, not layer tag. We want selector. And then we want to do one more on here where we tag it as selector. So if we hit play and click and drag, it didn't do anything. And that's because we didn't actually set our selector to be a trigger. And also because this is not tagged. And this is more important than what we tagged above because this actually contains our stupid collider. So is trigger, and we're going to hit play, and we're going to drag again, and it totally didn't work.
That's no good.
So what do these guys got on them? They've got sphere colliders. They're not triggers. Are they kinematic? They don't have a physics thing at all. It's not going to be a problem. Selector has a box collider. This has no physics either, so of course this is not going to work. So let's add a rigid body here. We're going to set it as kinematic and turn off gravity, even though if you already say it's kinematic, and it worked. Okay, yay! So we have drag select. I can do like this, and it totally works. Now we have a couple of bugs. We have the one that Phil mentioned where if you do this, they've selected, and they're still selected. We also have the bug where if you have a object selected and you drag again, actually no, that one's not a bug.
Actually, I might know how to fix that one.
Actually, let's hear your solution on this.
Thinking about just using an on collision stay.
On collision stay. Ah, interesting. So now the problem is we still have to deselect it under a certain circumstance. Now,
well, I mean, you could just check for that, like basically at the end of the click, instead of instantly sending it the message right when they're selected. You just check when you unclick.
All right. So the question I have for that is, how do you know we've? Oh, I guess we can just do mouse up. Yeah, let's do it. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a array of game objects. So we're going to make a private, and actually I like my private variables under my public variables, so I'm going to reorganize that just a little bit. So we're going to do private select private game object selected objects, or objects to select. Objects to select. And this is actually going to be an array. No, adding two arrays is a pain. We're going to do a list. So using system.collections.generic, because I'm not going to type that every time I want a list.
No.
So we're going to make this a list of type, what is it called? Game object. So now we're going to do objects to select dot add game Wait, no, this is happening on the unit itself.
That's why I was just considering the on collision.
So this isn't actually helping.
Because
I see. Okay, I don't need an array for that. I was thinking about this from the other way that I was going to implement it earlier tonight, but we ended up not doing it that way. So we just want to say we want to have a flag, basically, is what we want. Private bool will select is what I'm going to call it. I'm going to set it to false to start with. So will select equals true. And we're going to just comment that out for right now because I'm going to move it away later. So void on trigger exit. We don't care. Well, we do care because we might be doing other things might be colliding and exiting or triggering and exiting. So we'll do the same check here, just to be a little bit more robust. So on the exit one, we want to actually set will select to false. False. And then finally on mouse up, we're going to do this if will select.
All right.
So let's see if that works. So we're going to select and we release, and it totally didn't work.
Why didn't it work?
I don't know. Sure code.
No, it's not. Is this how it's going to be?
Alright, so on trigger enter. Okay, I think I know why it's not working. So we have a race condition because on mouse up we're also destroying the other thing. So if it destroys first, they're going to get the message that on trigger exit first, and then they're going to get on mouse up. At least that's my theory. So
I think that's right.
Let's do the little hacking method. We're going to go to script execution order, and we're going to add our what is it called? Select player unit on trigger, and we want this to execute faster than default time.
Let's see if this fixes it.
Nope, didn't fix it.
Interesting.
Oh,
now we have to figure out why.
Alright, so will select equals true, will select equals false. Let's see if it works just getting rid of this.
Alright.
Just go one at a time here. Apply. No, still not working.
No, so that didn't.
So if I do this, it works, right? Totally works.
Mm-hmm.
So it's getting in here. What? Why wouldn't that work? Is it actually called on mouse up? Maybe I have that wrong. On mouse up Unity.
No, I think you got it right.
Yeah, I did.
It doesn't need to take in a certain mouse up, does it? Like a certain button.
It's calling when the mouse is not over the same GUI.
No, it's just whenever the button's released.
Selector is not called on objects that belong to ignore raycast.
It's a wind.
Wind. Okay, that was weird.
A little bit.
Thought we were under attack.
Yes, well, it can happen.
So we're not even setting this thing to false like ever, other than right at the start, and somehow this logic doesn't work?
I don't understand that.
Here, I'm going to try something true.
Just see.
Yeah. So if I click anywhere, it should select everything, shouldn't it?
Theoretically.
I'm not liking that wind.
Yeah. No, I'm not either.
Can you do me a favor and lock that door?
Thank you. If I knew which key it was.
It's the one that looks like an old school door. That's it. All right. So we'll select. So wait, it's not selecting on mouse up. Is there something that keeps it from selecting? Oh, maybe. No. Because we currently deselect if we click, so deselect unit player units unclicked. So that should be on clicked, not on mouse up. That's completely different than mouse up. Let's look at it one more time here. Let's see. We select and it does nothing. And it totally works if we undo this. Huh. So weird. Even with it just set to true, it doesn't work. If we'll select, that should totally work. Alright, well, let's work around it for now.
Cannot get it locked for some reason.
Oh, okay. Well,
It's unfortunate.
sorry about that.
That's cool.
Alright.
So what did I miss? All sorts of fun stuff?
No, just I'm still kind of puzzling over this. So, I don't know why that's not being set properly to true. And, like, this should work in, like, any case in the universe. This should work. Here, let's try the final test. Let's do this one. On mouse up. Oh. On mouse up is actually only affects if the mouse down was on the object in the first case. I'm looking for the wrong thing. We actually want to do... I understand what's wrong now. So we're going to go back to what we did. We're going to do the... We're going to keep this one, and we're going to put will select equals true, and we're going to set this to false to start. And we need an update loop. Void update. So on mouse up is only called if you click on the object and release the mouse after that object was clicked on initially. It doesn't matter if the mouse is no longer over the object; it'll actually still work at that point. But you have to have the initial click on the object, and we're actually clicking outside of that. So what we need to do is we need to actually check when the mouse comes up. So that's just an event, a global event. So that's if input.mouse get mouse button up 0.
Oh, that would be why. All right, that makes a lot
You
more
understand
sense.
what I'm saying now?
Yes.
All right, and so now we do the thing here.
And we can
Oh,
just get
if
rid
we'll
of all
select,
mouse
if
up.
we'll select actually,
Oh yeah, we need that too.
because otherwise it'll just always select everything the moment that everything that has a script on it will be selected the moment that we do it. Otherwise, so.
Now you could just get rid of that one.
So yeah, we don't need that.
Get it out of here.
And that should be it. That should actually work now.
That should.
I'm
yes.
thinking this is going to do it. So we drag, we release. They selected. We drag, we release. Just those ones selected. We drag back out. Wait. Drag. Oh, I think I need to comment that other thing out. Yeah. So we're not sure if it works yet. We're not sure if it
Not
works yet.
perfect yet.
Okay, let's try this one more time. So we drag over, we release, they select. We drag over, we release, they select.
That is
No,
true.
all of them selected.
Oh, is it resetting the flag of will select every time? Because it needs to reset that in the update loop afterwards, right?
Yes. So
will
will
select
equals false.
That would be the problem right there.
Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So we drag, they select, we click, they deselect, we drag, just those ones select, we drag in, we drag out, they don't select, we drag in, we select one of them. It works! High
Now we can move
fives!
them. Yeah!
Now we can move our units, we have a drag
Oh my
selection.
goodness.
So what time did we actually start this
At
whole?
9.
Was it at 9?
It was pretty close.
It's close to 9. All right, I'm gonna call it. I think it was actually a slightly short show. So
keep going a little bit more if you really want.
Oh man, I'm just so done with this.
Yeah, the RTS is kind of.
Yeah, it's just I'm just kind of petering out on it. I know that we should have had some like serious war. Like I shouldn't call this done until we have a war with it. But
you can put it on hold temporarily.
Yeah, I think I may revisit this either in a how-to or in something else. But I want to get Cooking with Unity moved on to a new project. And so if you really feel like you don't want that and you want this thing to turn into some crazy war game, send me some feedback at pushypixels@pushypixels.com. So I'm going to so let's switch over to the marketing portion of our show.
Oh, okay.
Phil released his game, and I know I've said that in a video from yesterday, but it wasn't one of the main videos, and so we want to give a big plug for him today. And he is here to discuss his game.
Sure.
So I'm going to actually give the seat over to him
and
load it up. Don't put you on the camera. You're not going to be on. I'm not going to show your face. Well, okay.
Like
all right. We're going to have to show that now. So you get over here. I'm just going to get the folder open real quick for your game, and you go ahead and. Do your thing.
Do my thing?
Do your thing.
What kind of thing am I supposed to do?
I don't know. You should play your game. You should go for a high score.
Oh, don't make me go for a high score. So I made this little game. It's called Automation. It's available right now on the App Store for iOS. It'll work on both iPhone and iPad. That's about it. It's 99 cents. It's just a little old-school arcade-style game. You're this little robot, and you just shoot these falling objects and try to get a high score. It's a pretty simple concept, but I think it's a lot of fun, actually. I've had some pretty positive feedback so far, so. But I made this entirely by myself, except for the music, which we aren't playing right now for reasons.
Stupid YouTube reasons. If you check my uploaded videos, you'll know the reason. It's because the last time I played this on here, we had the music running, and it got matched in some copyright database to the wrong song, and so I'm still trying to get that resolved with YouTube.
So, but there are a lot of little random elements in the background. The game's different every time you play it in regards to like bomb positions, or these little orb positions, I should say. And I have a real working clock. I don't know why that makes me so happy. It just does.
So I didn't go into a little bit of the gameplay, but here I guess you should explain it.
No, you can go ahead.
Okay, all right. But like the way it works is you die in this game when you get hit by one of the orbs. But additionally, if the orbs hit the ground, they actually destroy the ground. And so like the blue orbs repair one of the blocks.
Correct.
And the green orbs repair all the blocks and clear the screen of bombs.
15 of them, actually.
And then the red orbs are just evil. Like
Yeah.
they can be good for the scoring thing because as you destroy things at the same time, you get a bigger bonus. And so they can destroy other bombs as they explode, like you saw it just right there.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is they also will explode you, and if they hit the ground, like if you just let one hit the ground, it'll take out like 3 or 4 blocks just right there. So like you can see at the corner of the screen there.
And if you noticed also, every time that I destroy more than one bomb with a laser blast, or one of these orbs, with the laser blast, I actually get multipliers for my score too, and that's actually the key to getting high scores in this game.
Yeah.
Destroying as many of these things at once as you can. But yeah,
it looks simple, but it's actually a really fun game, and there's a challenge to it, and it has full high score support. So if you're into one of those high score gamers, it's a really short play cycle type game. It's a good game if you're waiting in line, or if you can just pick it up, play a couple rounds. Yep. And it actually feels like there's something to it when you're going for high scores. I actually really like the game.
Well, I like it too, but I'm a little bit close to the subject matter.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah.
But no, it's kind of a neat little game, I think. Not to.
Link is in the description.
Yeah.
And
you can get it right now on the iOS or in the App Store for iOS devices, iPhone, 3GS, and later.
Support Phil. He spends his time doing this show, and I don't pay him anything. So
I do this out of the goodness of my heart.
Yes, he absolutely does it out of the goodness of his heart, and because he likes it.
That's also true.
But yeah, so buy Automation.
Yes, you should absolutely do it. It's only $1. It's only $1.
So
all right, I'm going to switch seats again.
All right,
we're going to play musical chairs.
All right, musical chairs. Well, that's the end of our program tonight, folks, and I hope you enjoyed it.
Oh.
Oh yeah, I guess standard thing.
Buy Proton Pulse.
Oh yeah, buy
we're
Proton
talking
Pulse.
about automation
No,
here,
don't worry. Just worry.
Yeah.
Don't worry about Proton Pulse tonight. Just you'll see something in the upper right hand corner anyway. I've got that automatically happening. Worry about automation.
Yeah.
Pushypixels at pushypixels.com if you want to email me.
Yep.
At Dracfire for Twitter. At
Magmalemur for me on Twitter. And then if you want to email me for some reason, have some feedback, my email address is phil@protosoftworks.com.
All right.
Or Philip at Protosoftworks, not Phil.
All right, we'll probably just fill the whole screen with that.
Yeah, let's just
stack it up.
Just so much text.
Anyway,
wall of text.
Thank you very much, and good night.
Good night. Bye, automation.